Adventure for me is, first and foremost, I think stepping outside your comfort zone.
It's an escape, something that's challenging, something that's fun, something that's a bit different, so something that takes you away from your normal day-to-day.
It's about kind of escaping, exploring places that you've not been before.
First thing that springs to mind is like jumping off rocks into lakes and climbing up mountains and like running through fields and stuff like that.
Just getting out of the rat race.
And just, I guess, creating memories and creating experiences that just go above and beyond that normal ride. Coming from the northeast, even before I cycled, I was aware of the coast to coast. And it's always kind of been one that sort of stuck out for me, but the traditional coast to coast route is, I think it's like just over 100 miles. So I decided, why don't we extend it a little bit? We'll start lower and then we'll go up higher. I think having a 2-day challenge is quite interesting because you get to see what your legs feel like with fatigue, you know, and I think that can be a bit of a scary thing to start with. I think sometimes if you do long rides, you know, like you're preparing yourself for a 100-miler, you might have a rest day before or have a rest day afterwards. So I think actually adding that extra bit of, we're going to do 100k and then we're going to do 100 miles, and also it's hilly, it adds that extra element of pushing yourself outside your comfort zone.
I can puke right now.
You never get
No, I do.
Oh, right, okay.
I always get nervous. Not to the point that I could puke, but I always get nervous.
Day one, like super early start, already got off to a bad foot because I set my alarm half an hour earlier than everyone else, so literally didn't get that extra half an hour of sleep.
Because we'd spent so long getting up there, we were all really excited just to get going. It was interesting actually, the first part of the ride was all on like a cycle path.
And that pretty much opened up into countryside, and then on in it was just countryside, and it was so beautiful.
That's the bit that stood out for me, is just how much amazing country road that we had.
Highlights from day one, triple decker toast day. Point one.
Yorkshire Dales.
Yorkshire Dales.
I saw a side of the Yorkshire Dales.
We're in the Yorkshire Dales. We've ridden 68 kilometres.
We're not in Cumbria.
So we've got about...
You're not in Cumbria anymore.
We've got about 50 to go. How's everyone feeling?
Alright, man.
Yeah.
Final climb at the end of the day was possibly my favourite part of the day. There'd been a bit of apprehension about this. It was like the last few K up one of the 100 climbs in the UK.
So what, like 8 kilometres? And it was only maximum 7%. But just being able to climb for that distance and to see that view the entire way up.
You kind of see pictures of places like that in Europe and in the Alps and the mountains. I'd never imagined that we had anything quite like that in the UK, and getting to the top and thinking that was actually also a lot easier than I'd kind of built it up to be.
It was stunning and the weather was so amazing.
Is it? Pancakes.
Day 2 started off with us falling up a hill really early. I think that was down to lack of sleep.
The climbing was really tough. I didn't realise there would be that much. Like when you're looking at the route, it's almost just a number.
We climbed out of the North Pennines and then straight into Northumberland National Park, and the hills were just relentless.
And then we went over this little lump and into this forest, and it was just this straight long road of gravel, like as far as you could see. And we were like, is this the right way? This is the way. Okay, cool. And we went for it, and it was exciting. I really enjoyed it.
This is what happens when you take road bikes off road.
Worth it.
Kind of was worth it though, right?
Hands down, probably one of the toughest days of riding I've ever done.
But, you know, there was never a section, I think, where I heard any of the girls complain. and I think that's kind of just testament to like how much they took it in their stride, and probably what the group dynamic did for that ride as well. It really kept our spirits up.
We're absolutely storming this now. Storming.
I think that there's probably a bit more sort of camaraderie, like we've all come to cycling at the same time and we have that in common, so we can relate to each other and feel like kind of we're all in it together.
The dynamic was, yeah, really relaxed, really comfortable from the off. There were naturally always twos together. We never kind of shot off, or, you know, if someone was struggling a bit, someone would drop back and chat.
I think we're all sort of trying all this stuff for the first time together.
It gave me so much more motivation than I'd usually have. Like, I know I've been out on longer rides on my own, and I really struggle sometimes to pick myself up from low points, and I think having people who were going through the same thing, and we all kind of dipped at different points and we were there to pick each other up, and that was really, really invaluable.
That is what made it so enjoyable.
Usually riding in bibs, after even like 50 or 60 miles, I'll be like, oh, this sucks, this is like not fun, and that can put you off doing longer rides, and it has put me off doing longer rides. So to have bib shorts that actually work and last and remain comfortable for the whole of the ride, and then the next day, which is even longer, it meant so much.
You know, when you work it and you kind of just don't even notice it because it's that comfortable and there's no issues, and that's basically how it was.
I think we were coming to the end of the second day and I was like shocked at how good my bum felt after the 2 days.
This kit was made for endurance, you know, that's why I made it how it was, but it was really nice to have people say that, because I think it, but I'm a little bit biased, so it was really nice to have that feedback from the girls as well.
Coming around the finish line, we kind of came around the corner and then you're at the beach. I was just like, oh my god, we made it.
Oh, they get out of these shoes. Oh, well done. Your feet were killing at the end, well done.
Every bump.
Good riding, great riding. Bring it in. Well done, mate.
Rocket, well done, mate.
I literally never want to see any of you again, I'm sick of the lot.
Yeah.
I was overly nervous. I think nerves are a good thing, but I think one thing I realised that maybe I'd kind of forgotten about going into it, that when you're with a group of girls or a group of friends, there's less to be nervous about because you've got each other's back, you're looking out for each other, you're never alone in those situations. So whilst I think it's good to have some nerves, and I think, you know, not going full throttle down a really steep hill on a blind bend, kind of your nerves stop you doing stupid things, but at the same time, you know, none of us needed to be nervous about the amount of climbing or the distance, because we were all more than capable of doing it.
I literally have never ridden that amount in 2 days. I've done 100 miles, I've done 120 miles, and that's it. And I've never done 2 big days back to back, so I had no idea how I'd cope with it. I had no idea if I'd actually be able to do it.
I hadn't really done anything of that kind of length or intensity with the amount of climbing there was.
I had experience doing similar rides, yeah. The London to Paris is probably the most comparable. So a 2-day, not much sleep rides with a little bit of hills, but this was definitely a lot higher. You do it once and you think, gosh, that was maybe a bit of a fluke. But kind of the second time round, it's a bit more of a confirmation that, you know, you can do stuff like that.
It completely cemented that I want to do more stuff like this again. And I don't know if I thought that was going to be the case, but it definitely is. I probably wouldn't describe myself as an adventurous person naturally.
Not particularly extremely adventurous, no.
I feel like other people would describe me as an adventurous person, but I'm not really confident enough to describe myself like that.
Not naturally an adventurous person.
And in a way, I'm kind of nervous about being adventurous. I like saying yes to things, but I'm always like kind of anxious about doing things.
I think it's something that I've found in myself probably since I started riding bikes. It certainly helps you cover a lot more ground and adventure more.
But I do love going on adventures. I just don't always think I have the confidence to do it. And so I think like this, when there's a group of you doing it, you feel a bit more likely to say yes and do it.
This trip really reinforced for me the idea of feeling the fear and doing it anyway. You can't be afraid to like do something for the first time. Like, it's a skill, and unless you practice it and unless you do it, you don't get better. And obviously having that support network and having that group around you makes that easier to do. And I think if you're not always the most confident person or not always the most adventurous person, that's a really great way to do it. Try and find people who are on that same page as you and do it together. Make it more of a shared experience.